is an NBC News special report. Here's Savannah Guthrie.
Good evening. We are coming on the air tonight with breaking news about yet another mass shooting to tell you about. Breaking news out of Oklahoma.
Jesus fucking
Details
Christ,
still
dude.
unfolding. But here is what authorities tell us right now. Tulsa police saying 3 people are dead and multiple others were injured. It happened at a medical building on the campus of St. Francis Hospital in Tulsa. Police are saying a man with a rifle made his way into the facility and up to the 2nd floor. Officials are saying at this hour the shooter is also dead. I want to turn to Rahima Ellis, who's been following these details as they're just unfolding a few moments ago. Rahima, what have you learned?
Well, Savannah, we're finding out more by the moment.
Bro, if mass shootings are like natural disasters, our reaction to mass shootings as a natural disaster is nearly as psychotic as like when a tornado happens, running up to the tornado and opening up your hands like this. Okay? We do more to try to prevent the most damaging impacts of natural disasters than we do of guns. Like, that's fucking insane. Like, we literally try to do our best as human beings to stop natural disasters or to mitigate some of the worst consequences of natural disasters than we do with guns. Okay?
There are no more threats or possible victims, but they say it's no longer an active shooter scenario.
Yeah.
As you point out, it comes just days after 19 students and 2
I'm going to be
teachers
honest with you, by the way. There is a likelihood that this is, I don't know, but no, I'm not even going to say it, actually. I was going to say this could be about abortion, but I don't know anything about that, so it could not. It's probably, it's not appropriate for me to speculate at this time.
On the hospital campus of St. Francis Hospital in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Joining us now is NBC News analyst, former
it's just
Special
speculation,
Agent in
so
charge,
it's not
Jim
appropriate.
Kavanaugh. Just as a person who's arriving onto a scene like this, a first responder, what's the
But
first
like
thing you're looking
that
for?
was my first inclination is like, you know, that was my first inclination, which by the way is again, like I mentioned, inappropriate of me to have even mentioned it. We don't know anything right now. So we shall see. On the anniversary of the Tulsa Massacre, dude, what are you talking about? Like, you think racist people know what the Tulsa Massacre is, dude? Come on, dog, you're crazy. Most fucking racist people don't even know what that is, okay? They don't know.
So that's some of the preliminary things detectives are going to be looking for.
Well, a hospital is the ultimate soft target. I mean, you don't necessarily see magnetometers and that kind of metal detectors, that sort of thing necessarily at a hospital. Some have them, some don't. This apparently was a medical building on the campus. And it appears the suspected shooter appeared to have made it with a rifle to the 2nd floor, if those first early reports are correct.
And that's right, Savannah. In the initial reports,
yeah, while the shooting is going on, by the way, from what I understand, there is multiple shootings happening. There's a shooting in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the one that we're seeing right now. One in Walmart in Pittston, Pennsylvania, and another in high school, and another at a high school in Los Angeles. So
responded. Nevertheless, he made it to
not
the
aware of the
floor.
severity of either of those other 2 shootings, but that's what's being reported at the moment.
Have to sort through all this and see what was going on. Any facility, office, hospital, courthouse, movie theater, shopping mall, it doesn't matter. If a man can get out of a vehicle and walk across a parking lot with a rifle and go into your facility, you have no security. And that happens time and time and time again.
In the Van Nuys neighborhood in Los Angeles, it was not immediately clear if the victim was a student at Grant High School in the San Fernando Valley. But more than 2 hours after the Rialto shooting, one person was shot near a high school in the Van Nuys neighborhood. So 2 shot and gun battle at a California park during school trip. That's, possibly not a school shooting.
That including the gunman. We are continuing to follow the latest details. We will come on the air as we have more information. This has been a special report. I'm Savannah Guthrie. Much more tomorrow morning on Today.
I was just there this morning, guys. I was just there this morning for a doctor's appointment on the 5th floor. So just to know of the Kelly building, not the other building that you guys were mentioning. So it's a very surreal thing. A lot of people, I don't have to tell all of our Tulsans that are watching that they have a doctor or have seen a patient or had a loved one that they've seen here probably within the last 24 hours. St. Francis is a huge campus. The good news is that people that aren't directly involved with this situation are getting a chance to reunite with their loved ones. But again, back out on just kind of what you're seeing.
Don't say
here
don't
on
make it
Yale,
about yourself, bro. It's
majority
impossible
of
to
the
not
state-
make mass shootings about yourself. Every American at some point is like in proximity or knows someone or has been in a place where there's been a mass shooting at this point. You know what I mean? It's like, statistically speaking, we're not going to stop until every single American has been involved in a mass shooting, whether doing the mass shooting or being a victim to one, I feel like.
But
at this
again, we're going to
stage.
continue to try to speak with some of the people. But the main part is that people are getting reunited, those that aren't directly in the immediate area. Again, that one husband able to reunite with his wife. Again, there's just a lot of information, a lot of people trying to get to speak to their loved ones. Some people are in basements right now and can't reach out, just basic cell phone reception. And again, if you're trying to get to this area, just know that getting here from 71st and Yale from the south end is equally as difficult to get to it from the north end as well. So just take your time. Know this is going to be a long process. Everyone knows this is a huge campus, and St. Francis has a huge presence here in this part of the city. So again, it's going to be a long evening, a long night. Obviously, a very long investigation. We hope everyone is safe, and people who are watching us on the news that are in those safe places, just know that we're going to continue to keep you updated as much as we can, guys.
All right, that's Tony Russell reporting live right now from about 65th and South Yale. Once again, for those of you just joining us, Yale is for the most part shut down from 61st all the way down to about 66th, 67th. Everyone being told to avoid the area. Families head over to Memorial High School. Again, multiple people. We have 4 dead that we know so far. That is according to Officer Danny Beam with the Tulsa Police Department. 4 dead, including the gunman. Tulsa police said that they responded to a call of a man with a rifle entering the Natalie building. This is happening about an hour and 35 minutes ago or so. My sources telling me that Tulsa police officers who are on patrol in the area responded within just a couple of minutes to the scene and responded almost immediately into the building. So the response has been overwhelming. As you can see, Tulsa police activating their special operations team. And in a scenario like this one, you obviously get multiple responses from EMSA, from Tulsa Fire, as well as their law enforcement federal partners such as the FBI.
Absolutely. Dozens of officers out there. We know they spent much of the afternoon. They've been out there, Karen, like you said, about an hour and 37 minutes in the Natalie building, going room to room and floor to floor, checking to see if there was any additional threat. At this point, they do believe it is just that one man who police tell us was armed with a rifle, and we have confirmed died. Counselor Jamie Fowler, who is the counselor of this area in South Tulsa, telling us that that shooter did kill himself. We have also heard from people who were on that St. Francis campus who were actually across the street. Nicholas O'Brien's mother actually across the street in the Kelly building. She saw officers go inside, saw several of those victims come outside, telling us that some of them couldn't walk. There was a lot of surprise when they first saw the massive police presence. They didn't actually know what was happening. And we also heard from another woman, her name Amy Miller. Tony told us that she was able to just be reunited with her husband just a few minutes ago. He was actually in the basement of the Warren building. He texted her, telling her that there was an active shooter. And of course, she was immediately stunned, asking what was going on. And it was a little while before she heard from him again. He, though, was safe in the basement and was able to just reunite with her husband just a few minutes ago.
We have multiple crews on the scene. Just to let you know, we are covering this to the best maximum capacity that we have.
Guys,
for
we can't.
Our staff. We have Brady Halbleib over at Memorial High School.
We just can't stop
following
this.
The
we just can't. You know what I mean? There's
Families,
no
they are
way.
waiting
No
for their
country
loved
has
ones to
ever
be
stopped
released
mass
from the
shootings.
scene.
Like, it just
Again,
happens.
many
You know what I
people
mean?
taking shelter in place. You know,
It's
the
just
FBI will tell
normal,
you in
you know,
their
non-broken
active
country
shooter training scenarios
things.
to run, hide, or fight. And many people learn to hide in this situation. situation. They are waiting. And again, this is one of the reasons why the Tulsa Police Department Special Operations team is going from room to room, finding those who may have been hiding in their offices, may have been hiding in closets, also looking for any possible accomplices. We haven't had any indication that that is the case. Captain Richard Muhlenberg saying that it is a quiet scenario at the time that they had responded, that the active shooting had occurred before the officers had arrived. So we are waiting to see more information, waiting to see if we can reunify those families. We also have our Amanda Slee is on the scene, Shay Smith is on the scene, Tony Russell on the scene, all of them actively trying to gather more information so that we can tell you and give you better insights of keeping you informed of what's happening here.
And we're getting different vantage points from each of those reporters, and it just shows you how massive this scene is, how massive the St. Francis campus is, how much of the area, including Yale, that police have blocked off as officers from the Tulsa Police Department, from our federal agencies, and from departments and agencies across the area have responded to this. And we did hear from Counselor Jamie Fowler that Tulsa Police actually practicing this active shooter training just yesterday. We've talked with several departments, even over the course of just the last week, who have been actively practicing this active shooter training after we've seen a number of active shooters across the country.
All of this going on as many people going about their day, ending their day, 5 o'clock in the evening. Many of the offices we believe would have been in the process of closing at this time. Again, waiting to hear from Tulsa Police exactly where in the Natalie building this occurred. This is a medical office building filled with physicians of various specialties, all across the range, dentists and such. So we don't know exactly yet where this happened, but as soon as we get more information from Tulsa Police, we will certainly bring that to you. As you're looking here at our live scenes, these are the layers of the containment areas that police set up in a situation like that, protecting people inside, keeping people out who don't belong there as they work to secure the scene.
Absolutely, and that securing the scene is very important for officers right now. They can obviously understand the anxiety and the fear from many people in our community who may have loved ones who were in the Natalie building or really in that campus in general. That's why, though, they've set up that Family Reunification Center. That's at Memorial High School. It's 5840 South Hudson Avenue. That's where they're asking you to go if you...
The Van Nuys shooting was gang related, they're saying. Yeah. The Los Angeles Police Department. Wait, no, this is what? Dog, are you serious? Look at the fucking date, dude. Look at the fucking date. No, I thought the fucking I saw some tweets about the Van Nuys shooting potentially being gang related as well, but look at the fucking date of your thing, dude. Look at what you just sent me. It was happening near a school. Motherfuckers weren't alive at that point, bro. What the fuck?
Traffic could hinder first responders. We will
She's
update
before
when
9/11, dog.
Available. Again, this source is the Muskogee Police Department. This is a posting that they just put on their Facebook page within the last few minutes, saying that Tulsa police have notified them of a possible bomb inside a residence at Park Place North. We do not know if these scenes are connected, but this is another breaking news situation that is happening to those of you who live in the Muskogee community. So again, avoid the Country Club area. You have Muskogee police on an active scene there with a possible bomb.
And we will be in touch with Muskogee police officers to see if there is any connection to the situation.
Once again, there's no reason to immediately believe local news in situations like this, but they do believe that the incident is gang related, okay? The local news and the authority in the actual news story, not the one from 2001 like the chatter said. Oh. Jesus Christ, dude. But the authorities that are involved did say that potentially the Grant High School shooting, the shooting near Grant High School, is also potentially gang related.
with a rifle walked inside that building. Police told us that it quickly turned into an active shooter situation, and we're learning that there are 4 people confirmed dead. And Councillor Jamie Fowler, who is the councillor of this area, the city councillor in this area, does confirm that one of those dead does include the shooter.
That is also information that was confirmed by Officer Danny Bean, who works with the Public Relations Department for the Tulsa Police Department, Public Information Officer with the Tulsa Police Department, I should say. Let's take you back just for a moment and hear from Captain Richard Muhlenberg. We heard from him immediately upon arriving at the scene. Let's play, for those of you just joining us, just some information on what he shared with us.
So we are doing a floor-by-floor, room-by-room search to make sure that we don't have anybody else outstanding in the building. We're starting a slow evacuation. There's no technical active shooter where someone's actually discharging rounds at this time.
Again, that is Captain Richard Muhlenberg. This was moments after we got our first live shot up at the scene for you. We now have 4 different crews on the scene gathering information, multiple police officers responding, as we have mentioned, setting up the perimeter, making sure people are safe in the area, while officers on the special operations team and staging in the entry to the Natalie building. We saw Tulsa firefighters, medics. We saw some of their federal partners who were there, as well as EMSA, staging just in case those officers or staff should be needed by anyone else.
And it was just about 15 minutes ago also that we learned that Tulsa Mayor G.T. Bynum is in this area. He was walking into the scene, getting confirmation and getting information from Tulsa police officers as they actively investigate, actively try to find any more victims. We did hear from Captain Richard Muhlenberg earlier this afternoon, letting us know that there were multiple injuries, potentially multiple casualties. We are still, as police are going room to room and floor to floor, we are still waiting to hear from them if that death toll has risen at all. But we did learn that 4 people confirmed dead. That includes the shooter. It's just a tragedy in our community. There is a family reunification center. This is something that police do want people to know, that as they are actively investigating in this area, they are asking people to stay out and stay away. But if you are concerned and worried about your family, they ask you to head to Memorial High School.
Now, at the same time, we do want to remind you, Muskogee Police Department has been notified by Tulsa Police of a possible bomb inside a residence at Park Place North. There is another active scenario that is happening in our community right now. That is the Muskogee Police Department reporting this. If you follow Facebook, you can check their Facebook. You can go to our Facebook. We will connect you as well. But they are saying that they are encouraging people who live near the Park Place North to go ahead and shelter in place as they go door to door, checking with people, confirming
I don't even know
whatever
what the fuck
information
that is,
they
dude. But Facebook is
you
not.
might have seen. So people in Muskogee being encouraged to avoid the country club area at this time. Here in Tulsa, people are being encouraged to avoid 61st and Yale. Yale being shut down from 61st to about 66th or so, as we have that perimeter set up around the Natalie building, that complex of 3 medical office buildings in Tulsa.
And Karen, as we've seen, this is an all hands on deck situation. We have seen dozens of Tulsa police officers. We know SWAT and the special operations team are out there as well, all trying to actively investigate exactly what led up to this. We know police were called initially to the Natalie building because there was a man with a rifle in that building, and then police telling us it turned quickly into an active shooter situation, in which at this point we know that there are 4 people who are confirmed dead, but there's still so many questions about what actually happened, what led up to this. We did hear from several people who had family members who were at this medical complex. We haven't heard yet from anybody who was inside the Natalie building, but we did hear from people who were in the Kelly building across the street and the Warren building, which is in that same complex. Loved ones who immediately reached out to their family members via FaceTime, via text message, phone calls, to let them know exactly what was happening.
Yeah, these 3 medical office buildings actually are on the same site. They're 2 of them face each other, 1 faces to the west, and they all look into the same parking lot. Entry area, really. It used to be a parking lot years ago. Now it's just an entry area into their covered parking, but they are buildings within that complex there. We are also hearing from Councillor Jamie Fowler, who told us be thoughtful, be prayerful, and above all, be vigilant. It is a time in our world where we do need to be vigilant and be watching for something like this. One of the women we were talking about, her husband texting her and saying, there's an active shooter. She said, are you serious? And then didn't hear from him for some time. So a very terrifying time for her as she waited to hear that her husband was okay. She did tell us later that he had been moved down into the basement of the Warren building, where he was able to contact her a little bit later. So we are definitely hearing from many people.
Muskie police say they have been notified by Tulsa PD of a possible bomb inside a residence located at Park Place North. Residents asked to shelter in place. It is unknown if shooting scene is related. Please avoid the country club area.
Did they see anything? Did they learn anything? And more importantly, contact law enforcement. If you saw something or you think you know something,
hasn't said anything in the past, anything in like an hour? Dude, what can I say? What can I say about this other than like thoughts and prayers, I guess? You know what I mean? Thoughts and fucking prayers, boys. You know, this is just another typical day in the United States of America. You know, just pray harder, think harder. If you think a little bit harder and then pray a little bit harder, I can react a little bit harder. You know what I mean? That's my reaction to all of it. I don't know. I don't know what else to say other than it is literally like, I know what they're gonna say. What is this? I've never spammed, but this is such a good take.
Come in. Sir, we've just been informed that there's been another mass shooting. Oh, no. Come on. Okay, hand me the template. All right, so my thoughts and prayers are with the people of... Where did this happen? Michigan. My heart breaks for the... How many people this time? 8.
What? People are saying this guy dated a minor? What the fuck? How old was he?
8 lives lost. We pray for their families, and something must be done to prevent tragedies like this. All right, so go ahead and tweet that, send it to the media, whatever you need to do. What? So I've been thinking. Already don't like that. I was just thinking, are you ever going to follow through on that? The end of the template, the whole something must be done part?
He did, and he was in the vlog squad. YouTuber Brandon Calvillo responds to claims of dating underage Lacey James. Brandon Calvillo, 24-year-old former member of David Dobrik's vlog squad, came under fire for dating 18-year-old girl named Lacey James in Trisha Paytas' recently deleted video. We never thought we'd have to make this video, but there's been some rumors online about a relationship. They're really bad. The pair had met on a dating app, Bumble, and they started talking and hanging out. At the time, James was only 17 years old. But the pair claimed they had not slept together and were not dating at the time. On their third meeting, Dobrik in the backseat asking questions to Calvillo and James. Is Brandon good at sex? Dobrik asked. It was James replied, honestly, yes. According to the news video, the pair had not slept together at this point and were merely lying for content. These jokes were very inappropriate because I didn't know she was 17 and neither did David, Calvillo says, straight face in the video. In hindsight, it looks really bad. We would never made those jokes if we had known. What the fuck? I mean, it's just like, it's illegal. I don't really care ultimately about this one way or the other when we're watching like the 11th fucking mass shooting, you know? Yeah, YouTubers fucking doing gross illegal shit. What else is new, you know? He was 22 and she was 17, or do I have that wrong? Like she is 17 or turning 18. I don't fucking know. I don't know, dude. Today seems like a racist commemoration of Tulsa Massacre. I hope I am wrong. I don't know. Lied about her age to him and on the dating app. Yeah, this is like derailing dumb shit, chat. Stop. I don't even want to watch that TikTok, though. You slept with someone with a greater than 3-year age gap. What's the difference? Yeah, you're right. I have never had sex with someone who's underage, though. Like, literally in my entire life. I lost my virginity at the age of 18. So I never did that. How would anyone cap that? Like, why would anybody cap that when I say I've never had sex with someone who's underage? You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? What? That's a cap, dude? I mean, yeah, I lost my virginity at the age of 18. If I had lost it earlier than that, I probably would have. But, like, how are you going to be like, nah, dude? Like, you're going to cap, like, pedophilia? That's what we're doing now? You never dated someone when you were 15? I did, but I didn't have sex with them. I lost my virginity at the age of 18.
Hey Karen, I'm just at Memorial High School right now, and again, this is the reunification area. This is ground zero for that. We have seen a lot of cars come in here, a lot of people that are on their cell phones with their loved ones that are still at St. Francis. Police are offering any information that they have and that they can tell people at this point. One of the people that are, came here seeking answers and wanting to meet up with their loved ones is Leonard Livingston. Leonard, what is going through your mind right now?
I first heard about the shooting when I was on my way back from Fort Smith. I'm a truck driver, and of course, hearing about the school shooting last week, and then hearing this at my wife's work, I was on my way back, and I automatically felt stress come over my body, and then she texted me saying she was safe, so that was a relief. But I'm just here to wait for her to get off work.
And I'm assuming that there was some time between hearing from your wife and then also hearing about this shooting. Between that time frame, what was going through your mind? How did you feel? Were you driving at the time?
Yes, I felt overwhelmed. I felt like this is the city that I love. I've lived here since I was probably 1 year old, and hearing this hits real close to home, and it's heartbreaking.
All right, and to be here with all these other people that are going through the exact same thing that you are going through right now, how do you feel?
Honestly, I never thought in a million years I'd be going through this, but here I am.
Leonard, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Karen, we'll send on back to you.
All right, thank you. That is our Brady Halbleib. He is live right now for us at the Reunification Center, which is at Memorial High School. Again, for those of you, we were just hearing from this gentleman, Leonard Livingston, who was saying he had driven in from Fort Smith. His wife is working in that area, and he was simply waiting to see if he could reconnect with her, worried about her in this situation. Those of you who have family either coming in, they are meeting right now at 5840 South Hudson. 5840 South Hudson, that is Memorial High School.
And it was interesting when we learned from retired officer Jim Clark just a couple of minutes ago about that big paradigm shift. This is after the Columbine shooting. Tulsa police were very vital in changing that paradigm, and that is what he was saying is when officers immediately go into the building to confront that shooter and end the problem. Those were some of the specific words he used: confront shooter and end problem. That's something that we learned here in this situation earlier from Captain Richard Muhlenberg, that they immediately went into that Natalie building. We did learn in this situation.
Yeah, but I mean, he killed himself, so that's not like, good job, guys. So many of these fucking mass shootings stop because the shooter kills himself too.
Hear from Officer Jim Clark that the goal is to preserve
or like
lives
decides
that
to give
were
himself
not
up.
lost. We do know that there are 4 confirmed dead. There are multiple injuries, but officers did work very quickly to get inside that building.
And Officer Clark was saying too that it was such a paradigm shift, because before, the previous technique that officers would use is they would wait for all of the resources. They would bring in whatever resources they needed, whether it was a battering ram or their SWAT team or whatever, to respond. And in that time, out of an active shooter, you can lose a lot of lives. And that is the concern, of course, that is coming out of Uvalde now, that there was an hour delay before the officers entered the building. Now, Tulsa police in particular, and I know that that is now the philosophy for many, many law enforcement agencies across the nation, is you train your patrol officers, you train all of your officers to be able to respond to this active shooter scenario. And in fact, we were in the Tulsa Police Academy training just yesterday when the current class of cadets were learning about active shooter scenarios. So they are currently using that training, definitely putting into place right now.
And it's training that's not happening just here in Tulsa, but in our surrounding green country communities as well. I know we were at an active shooter seminar training. Our Jeanette Casada was there today in Wagner County, and we just had a big shooting in Taft just a few days ago. So it's definitely something that our officers are ready for. Broken Arrow Police, I know just last week,
dude, local news will literally fucking go like
they prepare for.
Local news, the cops could have just like straight up helped the shooter, not that they did in this situation, and local news's first reaction would still literally be like, the cops were trained appropriately to help the shooter as a consequence of their immaculate and incredible training.
There's no denying that there is a lot
There's
going
no
on
better
in the world
way
right
to
now.
train
For
our
instance,
beautiful boys in the
Russia
blue.
is
Like
still
they're
invading
fucking
Ukraine.
trained so incredibly well to make sure that more shootings are happening, and actually more shootings are good. As a matter of fact, we've decided, because cops said that they were good. It's just always like that. I don't fucking know what else to say about it than like it's just such aggressive propaganda. And I'm quite honestly, I'm shocked that like there's this much coverage of the Uvalde police officers like incompetence. I don't know how it happened, but like this level of scrutiny on police action, or rather inaction in this circumstance, is very, very strange. Not a thing that we are used to seeing. I'll tell you that much. As someone who's been doing cop watch for a very long time, what you have seen, what you're seeing from these guys over here is basically the normal modus operandi of local news.
In the Natalie building, just right down the street from many of our homes, from where many of us live, where many of us shop and eat. It is a heartbreaking, tragic situation. We know that there were multiple injuries. Police we're still working to get that information of how many other people injured, and if there were any other casualties as well.
All right, I'm going to ask our producers, do we have any of our reporters right now who can provide us with some new information from the scene? We have 4 crews who are there.
25 fatal school shootings since Columbine. How did each shooting come to an end? A thread. Columbine, shooters committed suicide. School police there failed to stop them. Deming Middle, shooter arrested, not by the school police. Buell Elementary, unarmed teacher finds the shooter. Lake Worth Middle, shooter flags down the police after shooting, turns himself in. Santana High, school security tried to stop shooter but got killed. Shooter found alive by police responding later. Red Lion High, committed suicide. Ricari High, gym coach disarms the shooter. Red Lake High, committed suicide after killing school security and students. Campbell High, shooter disarmed by unarmed teacher. 10, Essex Elementary, shot himself. Weston High, unarmed janitor and principal disarmed shooter. West Nickel Mines, committed suicide. Millard South, suicide. Chardon High, shooter chased out by unarmed teacher. Sandy Hook, shooter committed suicide. Sparks Middle, committed suicide. Arapahoe High, suicide, police arriving but not yet on scene. Reynolds High, suicide, SWAT team had just arrived. Maryville, Pilchuck, suicide. Independent High, suicide. Apprehended by firefighter in Townsville. North Park, committed suicide. 23, arrested by police but not the school resource officer. Marshall County, shooter ran out of ammo, taken into custody by sheriff. Stoughton Douglas, arrested later by police. School police didn't help. So understand that, like, in a lot of these situations, it's unsurprising, but in a lot of these situations, it's just sheer luck. Bravery of the individual. These are human beings, you know? You just gotta fucking hope. I actually do have to fucking pray to God that it works. That, like, there's someone out there who just jump the fucking shooter and stop him. Or that the dude will fucking just kill himself. So Yeah. 948 school shootings have taken place since the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary School in December 2012. Fact number 4. I don't know. I don't know what else to say. Shootings are happening quickly and ending with a suicide. Unarmed school staff de-escalate or subdue the shooter in many cases. In many of these cases, the school police are on campus and none stop the shooting. I mean, these are not fun facts. These are sad facts, but these are the unfortunate realities of living in America. And the way that people present the truth in these circumstances is very different than what the actual truth is. It is inconsistent with reality. Like to venerate our police officers and act like they are, constantly fucking out and about, stopping crimes from happening or diving in the way of bullets or whatever the fuck. And unfortunately, that could not be further from the truth. Let's move away from yet another shooting that just happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma.